Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another PYA Crew Spotlight. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome Garth. What is your last name? Because I've tried to say it a few times and I keep getting it wrong.
My name is Garth Malgas.
Yeah. See, it's that G in your last name that I just can't
Yeah,
pronounce. It's like you have
yeah,
to use the back of your tongue or something.
yeah. It's very challenging for some.
Well, Garth, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from originally?
I am South African, born and raised here, and still in South Africa at the moment.
Now, tell me a little bit about your sort of growing up years. Was yachting something that you had always looked towards doing? Was it a dream of yours, or did you have sort of other paths that you took first?
I had never been exposed to yachting until well after my university years. As a youngster, initially when I was really young, I wanted to become a fireman actually, and as I grew up, that obviously grew off, and I got into science when I was at high school, and then went on and studied polymer science during my university years.
Wow. And you did some bodybuilding and stuff as well, did you not?
Yeah, so I used to do rugby quite seriously. I had dreams of playing for the South African rugby team. And when I reached about 16 years old, I decided, well, I need to start hitting the gym and back on a little bit of muscle. And I got seriously into the gym thing, and the rugby days were put behind me. And I went forward with bodybuilding for a few years up until I finished university and decided I studied polymer science and I thought there was a bit more out there. And I was very restricted in my lifestyle with the bodybuilding thing. So I decided I should put that behind me for a while and get my career on the go, um, which is sort of how the build up to how I discovered yachting started. So what happened was after I finished my internship here, I decided, well, the working in a lab thing, it seems a bit like maybe it's not the thing for me. And I started interviewing a few entrepreneurs because I was thinking of heading the entrepreneurship route. And everyone advised me that maybe you should go traveling because during these years of your life in your 20s, it's a great opportunity to do something like that. Whereas if you start your career now, you'll only be able to do it once you reach 60 or so and you've retired and settled down and all of that. And I took that to heart and started planning an adventure. So I met a guy who he is retired and now is a full-time traveler. And he told me about this adventure that he wanted to go on. It was sort of an expedition where we would be doing a motorbike trip from the southernmost point of Africa to the southernmost point of South America, all on land. Yeah. And we were going to do this on the motorbikes. And I decided, well, if I'm going to do this, maybe I can sort of make an income out of it. So I plan to do a documentary film series of this and got in touch with some biotech labs and geneticists, because if you look at the National Geographic website, that is the map following the map of human migration, which was quite interesting. So that was going to be a nice standpoint. And we planned that and got started in 2019. And unfortunately, I had a bike accident. And this is still leading up to how I discovered yachting. So I had the bike accident. And once I recovered, returned to South Africa, we couldn't start the trip again until 2020 because the seasons had to be right. You didn't want to travel in the winter, in the cold weather. You wanted it to be nice and warm and sunny all the time. So we were going to wait out the rest of 2019. And with this guy being a full-time traveler, he had circumnavigated the world already twice on his own yacht. And I had some friends in yachting, and we decided that we would go sailing with one of his friends that needed a boat delivered from Gibraltar to Greece. And that's how I discovered yachting. So I went and did a competent crew course with the RYA and headed off because I didn't want to be the only guy on the boat not knowing what I'm doing. And got onto the boat and I absolutely loved just being on the ocean.
So that lit your fire. You know, most people do have a story, whether it be from, a young age or whether it be from your age. The fact is that they discover, especially when you're talking about sailing. The minute you get on the water, you just get this love and feel for it. And that's it for you. For you, I mean, I imagine it's hard right now. Actually, you're in South Africa. So how difficult is it to get visas and to get wherever you need to go in order to find work?
So luckily with that bike trip being planned, I had arranged all of my visas before the bike trip. So in 2019, I had arranged my Schengen visa and my B1, B2 visa for this trip, which has been quite a blessing because now I've got those visas and lined up, ready to search for work.
So where do you want to head? Like, where is your first sort of stopover point to look for work?
Currently, I am looking anywhere I can get work. I don't mind where the vessel is at the moment. I just want to get out there and experience and build some experience up, build some longevity up on a vessel, and then go forward with my career from there. So during 2020, I did some more courses with Sail Due South in Langebaan, South Africa. And I finished my RYA coastal skippers over there and got my powerboat and my VHF and all the necessary qualifications. And now I'm just hunting to start using those qualifications and get my foot in the door.
So what position are you looking for at the moment?
Just a deckhand position on board, either a motor yacht or a sailing yacht, obviously in the super yacht industry. So one of the larger yachts in the industry.
Are you willing to take a smaller yacht if it comes along?
Yeah, I'm not going to be fussy, so I'll take whatever I can. Yes.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Do you plan on making this a career? Like, do you think this is something that you want to take beyond deckhand, possibly engineer, possibly captain's position one day?
100%. So it's always been in my personality to, when I start doing something, I go all out as far as I can with it. And with yachting, it's grown onto me because it's something I'm really passionate about and that I love doing. And if I can put all of those efforts into something I love, I'm going to do that. So the goal is obviously to become a captain of a vessel one day. And I just want to get my foot in and start taking the steps I need to get to that position.
So is it the traveling, is it the money, or is it just the pure passion for the ocean and something that you've just fallen in love with?
It's a combination of them all. So I love the ocean a lot and I love traveling a lot and I don't mind a check either. So that can all be put in one little bubble. I'm more than happy to go for that.
So I guess in this career, when they say that if you find a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life, is that how you see this?
100%.
Well, you know what, Garth, I wish you the absolute best and best of luck. And hopefully somebody will see this and say, you know what, that's the man for the job and we're going to hire him.
Awesome. Yes, I hope so too.
We'll include your details down below this interview when it airs. I just want to thank you very much again. Again, it's been Garth. He's out of South Africa and he would love to work for you on your sailboat, your motor yacht, no matter the size, as a deckhand, and he's willing to learn from the ground up. You've been watching another edition of the PYA Crew Spotlight. My name is Rhea. I have been your host. We'll see you again next week. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of PYA Crew Spotlight. My name is Rhea. I am your host, and I'd like to welcome my guest, Kirsten du Toit. How are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
Great. Well, thank you for coming on board. Let's start with you. Now, where are you from?
I'm from a small country inside of South Africa called Swaziland.
Wow. And so how did yachting become anything in your realm of existence?
So I heard about the yachting industry through friends and family friends. And I just thought one day I'm going to try it out. And that's where I actually found my passion and service and being in this industry. So, yeah.
So there wasn't anything else that you wanted to do when you were a kid growing up?
There was. I actually wanted to be a vet when I was a kid growing up, but I'm very on the creative side. So yeah, getting into chemistry and bio and all of that was not for me with the studying. And I was like, no, not for me. So yeah, I mean, I've worked with animals. I've owned a dog parlor. I've been a photographer. Yeah, I've been a caregiver, so many things, but this is definitely something that I've come back to because I really enjoy it.
So what is it about yachting that sort of fulfills all your dreams and desires and passions?
It's being with the people, being with the guests. I absolutely love service. I love making people happy. So yeah, meeting up to their standards, and as long as they're happy and I'm happy, and it's just such a passion of mine.
And what is your position on board?
I'm a stewardess, salt stew.
Yeah. And what size boat?
It's a 30-meter. Yeah, so there's only 4 crew. I've never been on this size, but I'm really enjoying it though. The smaller the better for me because, you know, it becomes more family-like, and yeah, it's a lot more work, but I enjoy it.
What is the largest size you've ever been on?
45. Yeah.
And what was the difference for you?
Compared to this one, the workload is definitely more on the smaller boat, because obviously I had the chief stew and a third stew on the 45. Actually, the year before, I was working on a sailing yacht, and that was 60-meter. Sorry, I forgot about that one, but that was a 60-meter. And I was working as chief stew. Absolutely loved it. First time working on a sailing yacht. Loved every minute of it. But yeah, like I said, I enjoy the small crew. It's very family-like. You know, it's much better.
What is the difference for you between a motor yacht and a sailboat?
Oh, that's a very good question. It's basically, if I compare this yacht that I'm working on now to the one that I was working on, the sailing yacht I was working on 2 years ago, the workload is the same, to be honest with you. But if you had to ask me this question when I was working on my boats prior to the sailing yacht, I would have said the workload on the sailing yacht is more. So yeah, there's just so many different things. Even the rules and regulations on the sailing yacht is a lot more hectic. But yeah.
Do you find that there is a difference in the feel on board a sailing yacht than a motor yacht?
Oh yes, a huge difference. I feel on a sailing yacht you feel so free, especially when you go sailing. So you're not allowed to really work when you're sailing. You're not allowed to really serve because, you know, the boat's going to be tilted to one side. Yeah, it's such an amazing experience to work on a sailing yacht. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't say I don't feel free on a motor yacht, but it seems a bit more chilled on a sailing yacht, if that makes sense. Yeah.
What are your sort of goals and ambitions in yachting? What do you want to become? I mean, you're a stew now. Do you want to become a chief stew, perhaps a purser, perhaps a captain?
Yeah, I mean, so I worked as a chief stew on the sailing yacht. I definitely see myself going a bit further and being a chief stew on a motor yacht. That I would definitely enjoy. And that would be my highest position where I see myself in, because I really enjoy the service and being with people and cleaning the interior. I like the aircon, so
yes.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, for those out there that are considering a career in yachting, what would be the advice that you would give them?
I would definitely say that you need to be happy with the decision that you are making. And yeah, I advise everyone to do it. If this is an idea that you want to do it. When people even ask me, should I go into it? I say go into it, because the first year of my yachting experience wasn't great, but it changed me as a person. I became so open-minded, and I felt free as a person because, you know, I got to travel the world. I got to leave home. I got to work on a yacht. So it's such a great experience. And one day you can tell your grandkids or your kids that, no, I worked on a yacht. So yeah, it's really awesome.
And how long term is this for you? Do you see you doing this for, 10, 15, 20 more years? Or is there sort of a date that you've decided you're going to be done?
I haven't really looked into it that much, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, I do see myself having a family of my own and, living in a house. So for now, I'm just taking each day as it comes and carrying on and working myself up and yeah.
Well, Kirsten, I want to say thank you ever so much for joining us, and it's great to hear your story.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we'll have to have you back in, maybe 6 months to a year and see where you're at that stage.
Yeah, definitely. I look forward to that.
Nice. Once again, this has been Kirsten Toit. She is a stew, not a chief stew, but a stew on this yacht. Well, you're a soul stew, so yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Soul stew on board a motor yacht. You've been watching another edition of the PYA Cruise Spotlight. My name is Rhea. I have been your host. We'll see you again soon.